I am Siddharth Gulati and I'm going to bring you all the relevant news that made the headlines in the newspapers and on various social media and digital platforms. So let's just begin with a news that has probably gotten to its final stage, and that is related to Vinesh Phogat's disqualification case at the Paris Olympics. So after the Court of Arbitration for Sport issued a final decision as to the fact that Vinesh Phogat would not be awarded a joint silver medal at the Paris Olympics, now they have finally issued a detailed report as to why Vinesh wasn't really awarded the same. So I'm just going to brief you in 3 pointers that the CAS mentioned in their final conclusion in a detailed report that was about 24 or 25 pages. Number 1 point is clearly that rules are clear on weight limit. There's no tolerance provided. Even if you are 100 or 200 grams more, there isn't going to be any leeway that's going to be given to you as an athlete or as a wrestler. And remember, Vinesh Phogat was in the women's 50 kg freestyle wrestling event, and a final weigh-in on the day of a gold medal bout was 50.1 kgs, which was about 100 grams more than the permissible limit. It also does not allow any singlet weight. It's completely up to the athlete to make sure that the athlete stays below the weight limit or at the very mark of the weight limit, and the rules are same for all participants, whether it's the men's wrestling or women's wrestling. So no dispute on that front. Vinesh was above the weight limit. Second point, that Vinesh clearly argued on the excess weight thing, that she wanted weight tolerance to be applied because Vinesh cited premenstrual factor for the 100 grams increase in her weight, and she also said that the excess weight that she had, which was about 100 grams, was very small and explicable, and that's why she should be given that tolerance. But overall, the eligibility criteria by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, or in a UVV rule, was that event eligibility must be from the beginning of the event and until the finals, and no provision is actually given for partial eligibility. So that's pretty much about it from the Vinesh Phogat's case. So the CAS has issued a detailed report, and it has clearly mentioned that any excess weight for women's or women's event at any Olympics is going to make that athlete disqualified. So moving to a bit of a cricket news now. There's a world record that's been broken just a few minutes back, as Samoa's Darius Vizer has scored the most T20I runs in an over in a game against Vanuatu in the T20 World Cup East Pacific region qualifier in Apia. And Vizer finished with a total of 132 runs of just 62 balls. So that's the record that he has broken. He has scored 39 runs in an over, which is a T20 international record, and we are going to bring you more details of it in a separate package. So let's just move on to another news now, which is relating to the Indian cricket circuit. So Zahir Khan is in talks with the Lucknow Super Giants franchise for the role of a mentor for the upcoming edition of the Indian Premier League, which is going to be the 2025 season. Remember, Lucknow Super Giants have been without a mentor ever since Gautam Gambhir parted ways with them and moved to Kolkata Knight Riders in the same capacity before joining the Indian cricket team as the head coach. And there's also one more void that the Lucknow Super Giants have, which is that they do not have Mone Mokkal now as their bowling coach, because the South African has joined the Indian cricket team setup alongside Gautam Gambhir, and Mokkal is also their bowling coach. So that's where Zahir Khan is in talks with the LSG franchise, and the details are going to come out of it soon. There's nothing official yet, but there are reports are there that Zahir could join the LSG franchise ahead of IPL 2025. So sticking with more Indian cricket news, Yuvraj Singh, there's an official biopic announcement on Yuvraj Singh now, and it's been done in the collaboration with T-Series. It's going to go into the floors very soon. There's no official release update as far as the final his biopic is concerned, but it's set to go on the floors maybe in a couple of years time or so. Well, we'll have an official update on it, but what T-Series has clearly mentioned that they are going to make a biopic on Yuvraj Singh. his career, which had many highlights, including 6 sixes in an over in the T20 World Cup match against England in 2007, which was also the inaugural edition of the T20 World Cup. And he was one of the prime factors why India lifted the ODI World Cup trophy after a long gap of 28 years in 2011. Then Yuvraj Singh had a big halt in his career because he was diagnosed with a rare germ cell cancer, due to which he could not represent India for about a year's time. Then he came back, went on to play a Champions Trophy for India, was a part of the couple of T20 World Cups too. So the biopic is likely to mention all the important updates of all the relevant details of Yuvraj Singh's cricket career and maybe some personal details too. So that's pretty much about it from the Indian cricket circuit. Moving on to some news from the Big Bash League now. So David Warner, for the very first time in his career, has signed a full-time deal with Sydney Thunder, and he's going to be with them on a 2-year deal. In case of David Warner, he has been playing for Sydney Thunder for the past few years now, but wasn't really a regular member of the Sydney Thunder BBL setup because of his international commitments. Remember, David Warner was a regular part of Australia's ODI, T20I and Test setup like across formats for about 10 years before he retired from international cricket post the 2024 T20 World Cup. So that's pretty much about it for David Warner, that he's going to be there with Sydney Thunder now for a 2-year deal. And Alisa Hy has also made a very interesting comment as far as the ICC Women's T20 World Cup is concerned. Well, the tournament is set to be held in Bangladesh, but was set to be held in Bangladesh, but due to the ongoing political tensions in the country, ICC has shifted the tournament out of Bangladesh. There are no hosts as of now, but UAE, Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe have emerged as the favorites. And when Alisa Hy was asked about the fact that whether the tournament should be held in Zimbabwe or in Bangladesh or not, the Australian skipper said that it would be the wrong thing to hold a tournament in a country which has bigger issues to solve rather than hold a tournament of cricket there. And at the very same time, when asked that would it have any impact on Australia's preparation for the T20 World Cup, knowing that it's not being held in Bangladesh, and why is it said? Because Australia earlier this year toured Bangladesh for a 3-match T20I series, which Australia comfortably won. And that's where Healy said that it would not have any impact on Australia's preparations because they are a very well-rounded unit, and overall they have done well in the T20I format from the past few years. So that's where Australia wouldn't mind playing in any of the conditions, and they would go into the tournament once again as favorites because they are the defending champions too, having lifted the title in 2023. So just that's, I think, pretty much about it from the cricketing circuit and a bit of wrestling at the Paris Olympics. Just a bit of more Indian news now. So Sumit Nagal, the Indian tennis star, has bowed out at the Winston-Salem. It's an ATP 250 event. He lost 4-6 and 2-6 against Croatian Borna Koric in the first round, and his match basically lasted for an hour and 10 minutes before Nagal suffered that eventual defeat. So that's pretty much about it from the morning news wrap. Do tune into Sports Today because we are going to bring you all the relevant stories and those big updates from the sporting world. Until then, on behalf of my producer Pawan, it's Siddharth Gulati saying goodbye.